Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of Pettit's Puck Talk. A little milestone here for us, eh?
A little bit.
Just real quick, I'm going to plug Radford Radio Free Radford social media, Twitter at Radio Free Raddy, and Instagram, Facebook at Radio Free Radford. So make sure you follow them. They make this all possible. And of course, you're listening to us on RadioFreeRadford.com. So, we got a lot of trade talk today, but I got a couple stories we want to talk about before we jump right into that. Our first story, I just want to talk about the Stadium Series, get a little recap with you. I don't know how much of it you saw.
A little bit.
Yeah, so Philadelphia beat Pittsburgh 4-3 in overtime. Terrible conditions. It was a lot of rain and stuff, but it's always cool to see those outdoor games.
Yeah.
I always like watching those.
I mean, I just saw the end of it, but how was the ice?
The ice was, it didn't look terrible. I think the rain probably sucked, though. It was rain.
Yeah.
Like, the whole third period was just straight rain. A little bit of the second, too. But it was a good game. I thought the boys were going to come out on top, being up 3-1 with the last 4 minutes to go, and then they go and blow up. But, what happens. You can't win them all.
The helmets made up for it.
They did. I like the helmets a lot. I know a lot of people hated those, but I thought it was sweet. I mean, that's not something I want to see every game, but,
yeah.
You throw those on in the Winter Classic or a Stadium Series game, I think that's fine.
Exactly.
But,
love to see it.
Yeah, overall, good game. I just hate to see it end like that. Our next story coming from News Channel 5 in Nashville, from a team who you may soon be called the SaberCats. The students at Emory University in Atlanta have recommended that the Nashville Predators change their name to the SaberCats. The name change was suggested to get away from negative stigmas associated with the word predator. So, just another snowflake story coming out here in the U.S. Nothing new.
I'm going to let you handle this one.
I just think that's soft. I think that's softer than butter.
We have a low term we like to use for that, but
Yeah.
we're not going to say it on the air.
We are allowed to say that. But, are you kidding me, dude? It's a team name for a sport. Like,
There's a lot worse.
yeah.
A lot worse.
The Predators, that's a joke. That is a joke.
Scared to play a team called the Cats?
Yeah. Not a chance. The SaberCats. Do they even have SaberCats in
We
Nashville?
already have the Sabres.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just need to add cats to the end.
Yeah. It's a joke. What?
They'll just wear the Sabres jerseys with the paw hanging out.
You know what? This brings up a question. Emory University. What's their mascot? It's probably the Snowflakes.
Fair chance.
Atlanta. Dooley the Skeleton. What?
Ooh.
Hold up. Emory University. Let's look up if they have a football team. The Eagles. That's all right. I feel like that's a popular name, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on this. I just thought it was
important things to
yeah.
talk
I thought it was kind of soft. They want to change the name Predator. Are you joking? But anyway, moving into our next story. Patrick Kane's point streak came to an end. You hate to see it, but ended at 20 games. So
solid.
yeah, I saw a stat and it was of all U.S.-born players to have the longest point streaks, Patrick Kane holds the first and second spot.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it? A few years ago, he had that
26 or something.
Is that the record?
Yeah, so that was the record, and then 20 was what he just set now, and that's second place. So that's pretty impressive. Definitely going to the Hall of Fame, I think. I don't even think that's a
especially with the
statement.
cups he has.
Yeah.
American blood.
But if you want to go ahead and call your brother, we can start getting into these trade talks.
All right, first.
We got a lot lined up here for you guys. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention or not to trade talks, but there are probably at least 10 today. So we're going to get all these out here.
All right. And James, you're live with us?
Okay, what trade are we talking about first?
So first we're going to talk about the Senators trading Mark Stone, and I know you wanted to talk about this one, so why don't you go ahead and take us away?
Well, why don't you guys start, but I will definitely chime in.
All right, what was
Okay.
the official trade?
So the trade was Mark Stone to the Vegas Golden Knights, and heading back to Ottawa are Eric Brandstrom and Oscar Lindberg, who are both, I think they're both, I know Brandstrom's a defenseman. Oh, Oscar Lindberg's a forward, so they're both pretty, basically prospects at this point.
Yeah. And what'd you say?
And also a second-round pick.
So not even a first, and the guy's got 30 goals.
But Oscar Lindberg's pretty solid. I've seen him in a couple of games. He's not bad. I don't know anything about Eric Brandstrom. But Stone's going to become an unrestricted free agent after this season. So.
Well, he was before he signed that extension.
Oh, did he sign an extension?
Yeah.
Okay, just a comment about Lindbergh. He's 27 years old, and he has 4 goals this season as a forward.
How many games played?
35.
Yeah, that's no assists either.
He has 8 assists.
So that's not terrible. He's still kind of young. That's not
He's 27.
great numbers.
I mean, they're going to lose Stone this year anyway.
Yeah. But I mean...
And then... Yeah, I feel like the Ottawa GM isn't very good, and I don't know.
Well, yeah, they just lost their whole team today, basically. all they got left now is Thomas Chabot. I mean...
Okay. Brandstrom is 19, and he was Vegas's 15th overall pick last year.
Okay, so that guy might be nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the AHL this year, he had 28 points in 41 games, and he played at the U20s for Sweden, and he had 4 goals, 0 assists in 5 games.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so this kid
and he was the captain.
Now, the only thing I'm going to say about World Juniors is, I've seen kids be absolutely disgusting there and then come to the NHL and not do a thing. So.
Yeah, but he's done pretty well in the minors, too.
Yeah, that's a good indicator, too.
Not bad for a first-year AHL season.
I think it's clear that Vegas probably won this trade unless one of these kids ends up being absolutely filthy in a couple of years. Which,
yeah. I mean, Ottawa was never going to get that much because he's going to be gone in a few months anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So I guess for them to get at least anything out of it is better than nothing because, I mean, you can look at the Columbus situation and, yeah, they're stacked heading into playoffs, but if they don't win the Cup, where's Panarin going? And they didn't get anything for him. So
exactly.
They made a big push on that aspect. But back to this trade, James, do you have anything to say or add to it?
Well, I think with Vegas, I think the culture is you got to win now, and it wasn't what they expected when they drafted and all that, but they got to the finals last year, and I think trying to build a good team has got to be their goal, and to do that, you have to trade prospects for more established players.
I agree.
Do you agree with this contract? 8 years at $9 million?
No, I think he's way too overpaid.
Ooh, that's kind of a lot.
But I mean, you look on their team. Who else do they really have to pay? They have
Pacioretty.
Yeah, but what didn't they picked him up as a free agent? Didn't they sign him right then and there too for a year or two or something like that? I don't know what his current deal is.
I'm looking it up now.
And didn't William Karlsson
22-23 at 4.5.
So what is that? 4 years?
Bad.
Yeah,
that's not as much as I thought he'd be making.
But yeah, William Karlsson's got to get paid too. That's a good point. But I'm just saying, as far as their roster goes, Stone is definitely one of the more established players in the league to this point on their roster.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's overpaid, but they kind of had to, I guess. I don't know. I didn't even know about that. Well, I mean, I remember you told me about the extension earlier, but I'd forgotten all about that. I thought he was just there for the rest of the season and then decides what he wants to do. But that's good for them, I guess. Do you guys want to move into the next trade?
James, do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about the Wayne Simmons trade for Ryan Hartman. So the Flyers have traded Wayne Simmons to Nashville for Ryan Hartman and a conditional draft pick.
Bad.
Yeah, bad for the Flyers for sure. I don't know what so it's a conditional 4th-round pick in 2020 that will become a 3rd-round pick if the Predators win a round in the playoffs. So
still nothing.
No, that's just. I really thought they would get more for Simmons than they did. And I know Clay does too.
Well, yeah, if Clay was here, we'd be going on for about 20 minutes on this one. Or he would be at least.
But, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I mean,
I think that this trade definitely is bad for the Flyers, and I don't really understand it. I guess they're in rebuild. They want to rebuild, but, then why have Carter Hart as their goalie when he's 20 years old?
Yeah.
Is Wayne Simmons a UFA?
From a rebuilding standpoint, sure, he's doing great, but I don't know if it's the best for his development, especially since they're overworking him and now he's hurt.
Well, and that's another question I have is, do you think, now that Carter Hart's hurt, they're just kind of folding on the season and just trying to
He's only supposed to be out for 10 days, though.
Yeah, but 10 days at this point in the season, that's, 3 or 4 games? I mean, that can be make or break for them at this point, I would say.
Well, maybe they should wait to see if they ride it out, and then, I guess they can't because it's the deadline. But.
Exactly, but I don't know.
Is Wayne Simmons a UFA?
I'm not sure.
I'm checking.
It was like having Grinelli here. Nice.
Wayne Simmons, this is his last year on his contract, and he's making $3.975. And he had 16 goals, 11 points, or 11 assists. But he's peaked at 60 points twice.
Yeah, but I don't I think
that was a while ago, though.
Nashville knows picking Simmons up that he's not there to get points. He's there to bring physicality and aggressiveness, I think, to their game. And I think that's a good pickup for them heading into the playoffs for sure. I mean, look at that Cody McLeod pickup they had a couple weeks ago. I think it's the same thing. Well, it's obviously the same thing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good pickup for Nashville. Terrible for Philly.
I do want to make one comment about Wayne Simmons, and that is that he leads the team in worst plus minus and most penalty minutes.
Leads the Flyers or leads the Predators?
The Flyers.
Wow. I didn't know he was bad on the plus minus aspect of things. Like,
I mean,
I didn't think he got them.
Who knows what plus minus really means if you know about Jeff Schultz. But if you really got to look at advanced metrics more than plus minus.
Yeah, agreed. But you definitely don't want a minus like that.
Yeah.
West is heating up for the playoffs.
What did you say?
West heating up for the playoffs.
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
we're gonna get into that with a couple more trades later. But.
Yeah. I think Columbus is heating up too. But are you guys want to move on to the next one, or is that all you guys got for this?
That's all I got. I mean.
Like I said, it kind of surprised me. I thought they maybe could have gotten a little more, but.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the consensus around the league about that, or around the fans of the league, anyways.
At least a second.
Yeah. And
What did you say they got again?
They got Hartman and a conditional draft pick, a fourth if Nashville doesn't win, a third. Is that what I read? A fourth round pick in 2020 that will become a third round pick if the Predators win a round in the playoffs. So,
which will happen.
Yeah, I don't see them one and done by any means.
No.
So I guess
that's ridiculous. I think he probably could have gotten maybe a mid to late second.
Yeah. But moving into our next trade, the Rangers have traded Matt Zuccarello to the Stars for draft picks. They received a second rounder in 2019 and a third round pick in 2020. I know Rangers fans were upset about this. I know Lundqvist was upset about this.
I didn't listen to the interview, but I was like watching it. Could see him tearing up.
Mm-hmm. But Zuccarello got a goal in his first game with the Stars, but he's now out for at least 4 weeks with an arm injury, I was reading. So that's rough for them, for sure.
Will we playoffs by then or not?
No, we'll be
not
like
quite
about playoffs, a couple games away from it. So
that's all they really need him for.
But
or
that's
they still push him for a spot.
Yeah, I think they're gonna make it. But that's if he's back in time. They said at least 4 weeks. And, an arm injury, you never know, man. But James, what do you think about this one?
I mean, I was kind of surprised, but
that was
I mean, I guess the Rangers are just rebuilding, and it's pretty obvious that they should. But
I mean, is this a rental type thing, or do you think?
I mean, it
could be, but I'm not. I don't know what his intentions are. They may have talked to him before the trade and said, would you be interested in re-signing? They may have just known that he wasn't going to re-sign. We really don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, Zach and I were talking about a trade with the Rangers we'll talk about later, but yeah, that was kind of my consensus. It was surprising, and I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't
because he had kind of a following in New York, I felt like.
He did. He was a fan favorite there. I read a lot of articles about that. So, and I know he was well liked on the team too, just from listening to Chicklets and things like that.
Yeah.
He was really well liked. So I thought that was surprising, but I mean, I guess they got 2 draft picks out of it. So I thought he was worth at least like a current player and maybe like a second. But
But they may not have wanted a current player. They may have just wanted picks.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what you said with the rebuild. I think they've entered complete rebuild phase. I mean, I would imagine the only person who's probably safe there is Lundqvist, and that's...
Yeah, I agree.
That sucks for him, too, because I'd like to see him get a cup, and it doesn't look like he's...
Well, if he wants to get traded, I'm sure they might trade him if he asks for it, but I don't know if he would or not.
That's also true. I mean, he's lived in New York.
Yeah, the Ray Bork thing and what Gimlo wanted to do.
Exactly. So, I mean...
I think that's a notable exception. It's kind of agreed upon that that's okay.
Yeah. I guess let's keep the Rangers talk going, and we'll talk about Kevin Hayes to the Jets for Brendan Lemieux and picks. So the Rangers traded center Kevin Hayes to the Jets for a 2019 first-round draft pick and forward Brendan Lemieux as well as a conditional fourth round pick in the 2022 draft. So they got a lot for Hayes, and I mean rightfully so. He's probably their second best forward next to Zibanejad, I would say.
Yeah, I'd love to see this guy get a cup.
Yeah, same. And I mean, I think Winnipeg could definitely do it this year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like Winnipeg, Vegas, Nashville, easily, or even the Sharks too. So it's gonna be a nasty Final Four in the West.
Yeah, for sure. I think the playoffs. I mean, it feels like every year it gets more exciting.
More and more wide open.
Yeah, but it's awesome this year. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
James, what did you think about this trade?
Well, first, I want to see what the Winnipeg Jets cap situation was before this. So who went the other way? What was the player that went to?
Brendan Lemieux went to
Brendan Lemieux.
New York.
Okay.
Any relation?
I don't think he's
Claude.
in the AHL, isn't he?
No, he was playing in the. I think he was with the Jets for most of the season.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember he had a suspension earlier in the year.
Well, he was supposed to be a good prospect. I don't know how he's doing now, but they did get a lot for him, and like I said, the Jets are voting up. They want this cup. They're gonna have some competition though, but
No doubt about that. You know, in this article that I'm reading about the trade, it's saying that Hayes is expected to be, he's on the second line with Patrick Laine, so that's going to be kind of sick.
yeah.
Cup's going back to Canada.
I just want to see Canadian teams in it, dude. Last year, was there a single Canadian team in the playoffs?
Winnipeg.
I don't think there was.
Oh, yeah, Winnipeg, that's true.
Oh,
That's-
yeah. But
that's-
I think maybe the year before that there wasn't.
Another sleeper team in the West, Calgary.
Yeah,
Calgary?
Calgary is nasty.
West is
I
gonna be
would love
nuts
to
in the
see
playoffs.
Calgary play Tampa, a rematch of the 2004 Cup.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Because that was the lockout year,
Yeah,
too, wasn't
that
it?
would be sick. But again, like those other Big Four teams, like, can you really see them beating them in a best of 7? Because they're just stacked.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Records speak for themselves.
I guess after. Were you looking up Brendan Lemieux stuff still, or were you pretty much
Yeah,
done with that?
He had 11 points in 44 games. Winnipeg.
Yeah, so that's not. I mean, that's not good, but
He had a lot of penalty minutes too.
yeah,
okay,
that's.
so he's a fourth liner.
Well,
Like he's a depth guy.
He's related to Claude Lemieux, so that shouldn't surprise
I don't.
anybody.
Is he?
Yeah.
he is.
Might
He's his
surprise
son.
Clay because you know
It's
he's
his
an idiot.
son.
I guess we can, now that we're done with the Rangers and their whole rebuild phase, I guess we can talk about the Blue Jackets a little more. So a big name we haven't brought up yet. Columbus has traded the Ottawa Senators for Matt Duchene. What was that? Oh, so the Senators will receive a conditional first-round draft picks in 2019 and 2020, and prospects Vitaly Abramov and Jonathan Davidson in return. The 2019 pick is top 3 protected, and the 2020 pick is dependent on Duchene re-signing in Columbus. So, I guess do you think he shines back there? I mean, even if they don't go that deep in the playoffs, I think he does sign there. That's what I think.
I don't know. I think it may depend on what Bobrovsky and Panarin do.
Well, that is also a huge factor, too.
He's
but
not going to want to be in a situation because I feel like if Columbus loses those two,
It's
then
like
they're-
Ottawa all
yeah,
over
exactly,
again.
exactly. So he's not going to be in that constant position
Mhm.
because he's doing well this year. He did really well in Ottawa, so I
On a
think
team he didn't really have a lot to work with.
exactly. So I think he's going to want to definitely once he gets this feel for the playoffs, he's going to want to keep being in a team that's in that kind of environment
Mhm.
on a year
I
in
can-
year out basis.
I agree with that. James, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, the thing is, you look at this and you say Duchene for prospects, but reality is that Julius Bergman is a good prospect as well, and he's also going the other way. And you have to consider that. Like, I don't like this trade from Ottawa's perspective, and like I said, I don't really know what Ottawa's GM is doing for the past 2 or 3 years. I really don't know why he hasn't been fired.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Maybe he's too focused on rubbing guys on the shoulder while he's getting a bus ride.
Throwing gasoline in the front office.
But
You probably should calm down.
yeah, let's amp it up a little more. But yeah, Columbus is definitely loading up heading into playoffs here. And it'd be nice. I mean, even as a Pittsburgh fan, I would not mind seeing Columbus make a deep run and even
I could definitely see them getting second.
Even if they get a cup, I mean, that's their first cup ever, so I'd be so down for that. That'd be cool to see.
Not really a hated team by much. So
No.
Nobody's gonna mind them winning.
No. But I think it's crazy for Duchesne. I mean, if you look at his past 2-3 seasons, he's been all over the place, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if he's gonna buy a house right off the bat, because like he doesn't know where he's going. I guess. I mean,
is Dubinsky still? Yeah, he is there.
Yeah.
Right?
They got rid of Duclair though, didn't they? Where did Duclair go?
Ottawa.
Duclair, I think went to.
I think he went back to Ottawa in that other trade. When you were telling me Duchesne went back.
For Dzingel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you are right. Actually, we're gonna get.
Double check.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, he's on Ottawa now.
So that's a perfect transition for us into the next story. So, our next trade, we have the Ottawa Senators traded Ryan Dzingel to the Blue Jackets for Anthony Duclair and 2 second-round picks. And actually, a funny story about this: after the trade, Duchesne he chartered a private jet, flew back to Ottawa, picked up his wife, his kid, his dog, and Ryan Dzingel, and came back with him. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That's a week and a half.
That is pretty funny.
But yeah, what do you guys?
Hope that plane ride wasn't like the Uber.
Well, I mean, Duclair, when he first came into the league, everyone thought he was going to be really good. He came in really young for the Rangers. But he hasn't really panned out that well, I don't think. He's still an NHL guy, but he's not really doing as well as probably a lot of teams thought he would.
I thought he did all right in Chicago.
Yeah. And was he in Arizona for a little bit too?
He was drafted by Arizona.
He's been with New York, Arizona, Chicago, Columbus, and now Ottawa.
Okay.
Was he not drafted by Arizona?
He was drafted by the Rangers.
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Learned something
He played
every day.
18 games for the Rangers in the 14-15 season. Then went back to Quebec and played 26 games, and then played in the Canada U20 tournament and got 7 games, had 8 points.
That's pretty solid. But I mean, that just goes back to what I'm saying, with the World Juniors, or I guess U20 tournament's different than World Juniors, but.
What is the World Juniors?
Oh, so you're talking about World Juniors?
It's U20.
Okay, so.
I meant.
It's just hard to tell. It's hard to gauge guys that do well in that tournament and how they're gonna convert to the NHL.
I mean, it's a very prestigious tournament, but just because you do well doesn't mean you're going to pan out. It's a very small sample size.
Yeah.
So, James, before we let you go, do you want to talk about the part of the Skinner trade that was also brought back up today?
Well, yeah. So, everyone talks about this Jeff Skinner trade, but how it was a bad trade for Carolina. And so Cliff Pooh just went from Carolina to Florida, who was the main prospect that Carolina got from Buffalo. And he was supposed to be a good prospect. He was a third-round pick, but he was supposed to go kind of early, mid-second round. But he hasn't really panned out. He's spent time in the ECHL, and, now he got traded for nothing. And essentially, Carolina got nothing for Jeff Skinner.
That's almost worse than New York with the John Tavares situation. Because they got nothing, but at least they knew they had nothing,
Yeah.
They got nothing and didn't know it till just now.
I thought Fox was in that trade, too.
That was the Hannafin trade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was when they got Fox. You're talking about the defenseman, right?
Yeah. Chickless is getting me mixed up. We can go with that one.
But yeah, James, you got anything to add on to what we've covered so far?
I have something unrelated to this.
Go ahead.
So, this is kind of have nothing to do with anything we've talked about, but what do you think the Caps would have done this year if they didn't win the Cup?
Well, first, I think Trotz would have been fired right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then after that, I don't think it would have been Ovechkin gone, but I think one of your big names, either Kuznetsov or Backstrom or one of those guys, maybe Oshie would have been gone to try to get some more.
A name that came up today, even though they did win, was Burakovsky. I think he'd definitely be gone.
Yeah. Well, I think it would have been like a multiplayer.
Yeah. Not
move.
just Burakovsky, but I think you're right.
So that's what I think would have happened.
I think they definitely would have been in for some of these big names.
Yeah. What do you think would have happened, James?
Well, I'm just thinking about, no one expected them to win, and I feel like this year was kind of like they were starting to almost give up a little bit. They didn't have the cap space. they had to fill their holes with DeMonte Smith-Pelly, who actually ended up doing very well in the playoffs. But, people were saying he was going to be in the AHL that year, but he came up and played, and they got lucky that some of their players turned out well. They had players stepping up, and they had enough rookies on ELCs that they could still forge a good roster.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think you guys had the roster for a couple of years. There was just something about it not coming together, not gelling. I don't know.
The Penguins just gelling better.
I mean, that's the thing. The Penguins were such a powerhouse that it's hard to blame the Caps for losing.
No, you're right.
Because, if it's structured differently, the Caps could have just made it to the final. Like, obviously it would never be structured this way, but if it was structured so they played the Penguins in the finals, they'd be going to the finals and playing the Penguins every year.
Yeah.
It was just the second round instead.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on again. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks for coming on, James.
Thanks.
We got one more trade to talk here about with the Blue Jackets, and that's picking up Keith Kincaid from the Devils.
Yeah, that was a late one, right?
Yeah. So Keith Kincaid's going to the Blue Jackets in exchange for a 2022 fifth round pick. So not like, well, why did they do that for a 5th round pick? 4 years.
Kincaid's not bad.
That's what I'm saying. Why did the Devils give that up for pretty much nothing? Like, what are you?
That's true.
I mean,
I didn't even think of it from a Devils perspective, but I'm just thinking for Columbus mostly.
Yeah. Well, Columbus is sick, and especially if Bobrovsky doesn't sign, you have Kincaid.
Exactly.
And you still got Korpisalo, who's not a bad backup by any means.
Exactly. So did Kincaid start for the Devils?
Yeah. Because, Schneider...
So, does this mean Bobrovsky's pretty much gone now?
I would think so, but... See, that's what makes me worry. Like, Columbus is making all these moves before the deadline, and I feel like they have... Like, their star players don't even want to be there. Like, for...
Yeah.
They're kind of just like, whatever. Like, I think they're going to play to win still, but if they get knocked out in the first round, I don't think they really care. I don't know. That's just what I get from it, but... I just can't believe the Devils, all they got back was a 5th round pick for that.
They were
3
definitely
years
sellers
from now.
this year, and I don't think they did a good job at it either.
No, and I think they've kind of... if they haven't given up on the playoffs at this point, I don't know what they're thinking because they're pretty far down there if I'm recalling correctly. But that's crazy. I think Columbus probably had the best trade day out of everybody. Trade weeks, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they definitely got better. The one thing I keep thinking, though, is... Are they really serious contenders now, though?
And I think that's the question everybody's got to ask because they're making moves like they are.
Yeah, they're doing everything right, but is it enough?
I don't know. I think anything's possible with Tortorella on the bench.
Dude, that guy needs to go back to Vinton. Love to see him walking around Lancerlot.
Vinton alone. So I guess we'll talk about the Caps here. The Caps got Carl Hagelin from the Los Angeles Kings for a 3rd round pick in the 2019 NHL draft and a conditional 6th round pick in the 2020 NHL draft.
Huge fan of this. He's a little washed up, but still a huge fan.
He's washed up, but he is fast and he's one of the best penalty killers in the league.
That's true.
And you guys take a decent amount of penalties.
Yeah, I was gonna say
so
we be like that sometimes.
He's definitely a role player for that kind of. He's good in the playoffs. That's what I'll say.
And now that I'm thinking about it, they easily could have got rid of Burakovsky because they're kind of like the same style kind of player.
Well, that was what they sent down DSP because they brought in Hagelin, and I was like, I could think of a couple different players that I would send down instead of DSP, like Burakovsky, Dowd. Jamie brought up that I thought was also another.
Didn't Dowd get traded?
No, Bowie got traded. Yeah.
You get the scratches mixed up sometimes.
Yeah, you really do. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a good pickup for you guys. I haven't seen him play in a Caps jersey, but that's gonna break my heart when I do.
I saw you repping the Hagelin jersey the other day. I appreciated that.
Yeah, that was, it happens. That's the only jersey I got. I'm gonna rock it till the day I die. I'll probably cop a couple others. But yeah, I think that's a good trade for you guys. Washington also selling out because they're like second to last in the league right now, if not last. And now I guess we can move into the Wild. Talk about the Minnesota Wild here. So the big one last week. The Minnesota Wild traded Charlie Coyle to the Boston Bruins in exchange for Ryan Donato and a 5th round pick.
Just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Donato's sick.
I think it's a good move for both sides, really.
Yeah. I do agree with that.
I
I
don't really
think
think-
Coyle fits Boston culture. I think Donato is going to go to like
Yeah.
a market where.
They
I'll tell the viewers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like more creativity, more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nah, but I think it blew my mind too. But I already saw Charlie play with Boston, and he looked pretty good. He had that. Yeah, we're still good. I think it just locked out. He had the shootout winner. I think after I said I don't know why they're putting him out there on the shootout, and just made me look stupid. So thanks for that, Coyle.
Shout out Charlie Coyle. Come
Yeah.
on anytime. We're out here in Radford, Virginia, in the 24141.
Or 24142, depending on where you live. You could be on campus in a dorm. We're not disrespecting against that. We don't have any disclaimer for that though.
Not on the air, at least.
No. But yeah, I think it was a good trade. That was the one trade where I felt like both teams fared well after it was said and done.
And then Nesson was taking jabs at Donato, but
Yeah.
he went to Harvard and the people working the website didn't, so they can suck it.
It happens. The other Minnesota trade we have, Michael Granlund has been traded to the Predators for Kevin Fiala. Was this just a 1-for-1?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this fits pretty good for both.
Yeah, agreed. I think, neither guy was having a spectacular season, but they're both still got a lot of upside to them.
They've definitely proved themselves before.
Yeah, so I think they're similar players too. But yeah, again, I think this is another trade that both teams did pretty well in. So the Wild made a decent amount of moves, and Nashville's making a decent amount of moves too.
Yeah, but just going back to Boston, they also got Johansson today.
Oh yes, Marcus Johansson. We didn't even talk about that. Let's look that one up real quick.
Boston could be looking pretty nasty too this year.
Yeah. Well, they are looking pretty good. I think they're second in the Atlantic right now.
You know what I was surprised about? The Islanders didn't do much today.
Yeah, I was surprised about that. But I guess the way they're probably looking at it is if it isn't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So they're just rolling with what they got. Yeah, the Bruins acquired Marcus Johansson from the Devils, and in exchange, the Devils are getting a second-round pick in 2019 and a fourth-round pick in 2020. So Devils getting a lot of picks, but some of them down the road from now, some of them this year.
They've lost a lot of core pieces of that team today.
Yeah.
They lost Boyle. They lost
Kincaid.
They lost
Johansson.
Yeah. Hall's got to be pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Just send him to Columbus.
So that was another big trade. And then the last trade we got for you guys, the Sharks have acquired Gustav Nyquist from the Red Wings for draft picks.
Was this a late one?
Yeah, this happened today. It wasn't. It was like noonish.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not sure what draft picks they got. They sent 2 draft picks. Oh, okay, so Detroit will receive the lower of San Jose's or Florida's 2019 second-round selections, along with San Jose's third-round selection in 2020. So I guess it's that first one's conditional, maybe, depending on how San Jose does.
I kind of like that trade for San Jose, though. Adds a little depth to a front-loaded team.
I agree.
Smart move.
And he's a good player, too.
He's not bad.
He's just been on Detroit all those years at Porterfield.
At Dano. Back at Porterfield.
But yeah, good move for San Jose. And that's really all the trade talk we have. Other than that, we just got some milestones, some injuries, and a little bit of who's hot, who's not.
Oh, wait, before we start, just want to tell Porterfield to have a great class down there in Roanoke. Say hi to Torts of Vinton. All right, now what are we talking about?
So first we got milestones. Roberto Luongo has tied Ed Belfour on the all-time wins list. Not a big
Say
deal.
that again.
Roberto Luongo has tied Ed Belfour on the all-time wins list for goaltenders. So I'm not sure what position or anything like that, but that's a big name. Roberto Luongo is a big name, but I'm pretty sure they played together at the same time for a little bit. And then our second milestone, Alexander Ovechkin has reached goal number 650 of his career. So this dude's lighting the lamp.
He's catching up to Grzelko.
To who?
Grzelko.
Who? Oh, Gretzky. Okay. I was like, who's Grzelko? Oh, wow. Yeah. Fantasy hockey and injuries. We got Carter Hart out with a lower body injury. I'm pretty sure it's a lower body, which we discussed earlier. And then Matt Zuccarello out with the arm injury, which we also discussed earlier. So
Is Philly going to the playoffs?
Probably not anymore. Now that they traded Simmons, they don't have their starter. I mean, they could. It's not impossible, but I think they're a little too far out to. Let's see. They have 65 points right now. Second place wild card. You need 72. So they're 7 points out.
I'm surprised they were sellers then.
That's what I was saying. I was like, this is pretty much, to me, this is them like
falling on their own sword.
Yeah, like I don't think we're gonna make it. So here you go.
You know what would have been kind of nasty if Duchesne went there.
Yeah, that would have been sick. But then I'd have to hate Duchesne.
Yeah, well.
All right, moving into who's hot and who's not. Top of the list for the hots, we got Tampa Bay on an 8-game winning streak, 8-0-2 over their last 10. We got Calgary at a 5-game winning streak, 6-2-2 over their last 10. Colorado on a 4-game winning streak, 5-2-3 over their last 10. And Arizona on a 3-game winning streak, 6-4-0 over their last 10, making that last push for the playoffs. Right now, Arizona's sitting only 2 spots out of a wild card with 63 points. They need 66 to hold the second spot for the wild card. So that'd be sick to see them make playoffs. I'd be pretty hyped about that. Any names on that list stick out to you besides Arizona? No, right?
No.
Tampa Bay, Calgary, Colorado.
Used to it.
Next on the not so hot list, we got Ottawa on a 4-game losing streak, 3-7-0 over their last 10. Not a shocker there.
All right. Well, before you keep going, even if they're not on the list, Detroit again. Shout out Porterfield. Actually, I know you're listening on that drive.
Yeah,
they're not so hot.
They weren't on the list, but yeah, not so hot either. So
they are now.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. And then our last team on the not so hot list is LA. Also not a surprise here. 4-game losing streak, 3-5-2 over their last 10. So shouldn't be any shockers there. Those teams both suck eggs this year.
Say the least.
Say the least. Yeah. You know what? Now that we bring up LA, I'm surprised Kovalchuk didn't go anywhere.
You're right.
That stood out to me. Now that I just said LA.
Were you saying earlier they're like second to last in the league?
Yeah, something like that. Here, let me go to. Well, here, just in their conference, they're last place with 52 points. Let's see what. Okay, Ottawa's got to beat with 49. So, second to last, yeah. That's terrible. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Everyone thought LA was going to be nasty this year.
I know, because that pickup in the offseason, everybody was like, yo, they're back.
I mean, I did say he was getting 30 even strength goals, so.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just hating on myself.
It happens to the best of us, so.
Yeah, and the worst of us.
I would like to say, though, for the record, I called Montreal sleeper team, and nobody believed me. And here we are. Montreal's probably going to make the playoffs.
Probably.
But you got anything to add before we sign off here?
It's been a solid pod today.
Yeah, a little long here, you know? All those trades. We got to...
May need a nap after this one.
Yeah, for real. But, yeah, thank you guys for listening, and be sure to tune in next Monday at the same time.
Coyle. Coyle,
you
know where we're at.
We'll get you the hotline in the DMs, so... Thank you, though, for real. Love all you.